Different values. Hi, I'm Bec from Be Free Emotional Fitness Training, and I support women and girls to become emotionally stronger.
And I'm Vern from Move Forward Mentoring, and I specialise in male mentoring, helping boys and men find their passion, speak from their heart, and build better relationships.
And together we are rekindling relationships. We work with couples through mentoring sessions as well as facilitating communication and creative workshops to build deeper connections.
Welcome to our podcast, designed to help you strengthen and bring more fun into your partnership, as well as create a more loving, healthy, and strong connection. Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
So today we're talking about different values, and that is a big one, isn't it?
It sure is. It can be a make or a breaker, different values.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of things which make up values in a relationship. This includes things like different religious values, different political values. How do you deal with those sort of things, Beck?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because they can be quite a passionate subject, really. They can be quite important to some people.
Yeah, that's probably why, we're always taught don't talk about religion or politics at the table.
It might be tricky if you are with someone who is very religious and think it's important to go to church every Sunday, whereas if you're an atheist, then that's going to be tricky.
And likewise, if you are someone who is religious and wants someone religious in your life, then it's not going to work if you're with someone who doesn't believe the same things you do sometimes. Maybe you can make it work, but it does mean a lot of compromise.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? You've got to decide what is okay to compromise on and what you won't compromise on. What values will you not compromise on? And like I said, that can be a bit of a deal breaker.
I mean, another one is politics, and people have different values in their politics. But I feel like that's something which hopefully you could compromise. You could sort of come to an agreement over, okay, let's either not talk about it because it doesn't work so well. I don't talk to my father about politics at all because we have such different views. I can't actually have a conversation with him about it. I find it really frustrating.
And I'd probably frustrate someone who is really into politics because I'm not really interested in it at all.
I don't talk about it.
No. What about things like if someone's really healthy, into a really healthy lifestyle, so
really
eating very clean and lots of exercise probably won't suit someone who, likes Maccas every night.
Oh, well, someone who just doesn't feel that they need to be healthy. It's not there. They don't value it. So then there's a discrepancy. Then there's an opportunity for a conversation. It's an interesting position to be in, and you might be there yourself and be looking at your partner going, wow, that person's really fit like I do. And I look at Beck and I'm like, my goodness, she's so fit. I need to get out and move some more. So in a sense, actually what happens is you actually motivate me to get off my ass and go for a walk in the morning because I also want to be healthy. I'm probably not as strict as you though.
But you are very healthy.
Yeah, and we do value it.
I mean, you do value it. It's a value. So, yeah, it's important to both of us. And I respect that in you because you value it.
Thank you. And look, I'm just going to blame it on the COVID kilos. I know what I'm talking about.
All the blame on COVID.
I don't think you got any of it. But also things like family connections and independence, a difference where one person really wants to have their family around them all the time and they want to see their family and connect with them and have them over for dinner. And the other person might just want a bit of space and a bit of independence.
Might even want to move away. They might want to, live elsewhere.
Yeah, be as far away as possible from their in-laws.
And that would be really tricky to compromise on your values with your family.
What's another one you think?
What about one person's really neat and the other is just a slob?
Yep. That sounds like my brother and I actually both shared a room for a while and he was such a pig to live with. Hi, Troy. If you ever listen to this, you're such a slob. I love you, but I've always been really neat and organised. You seem really neat and organised too.
Yeah, we're both similar, I think, in that way,
yeah.
Which helps.
But if you're not, if you're always having to clean up after someone or someone doesn't value neatness and just like, oh, whatever, then that could be cause for friction.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And that's such a different value. And it's, a lot of it has to do with how you were brought up.
Yeah.
Your upbringing. If you might either be really neat because your family was neat or your family might have been really messy and you're really neat in spite of it.
Yeah. A lot of our values can, hinge on the way we were raised.
How about things like, and it's a big one for me, is punctuality. Now, you're super punctual. I am mostly punctual. Like, I do say 5-10 minutes. And the other night I was like, I'll just go to the shed for 5 minutes. And half an hour later I turned up and that wasn't met with joy of expectation. I'd be like, oh, she'd be so happy to see me. No, I was supposed to be out there for 5 minutes. Oh, yes, I was late. I can't actually say, I wasn't punctual late. I said one thing, did something else. That didn't go down too well.
I'm probably a bit stricter because I think your idea is, if we're 5 minutes late, it's just 5 minutes. Whereas I'm kind of always like, that's late.
Yep. Yeah.
And you like to be 5 minutes early.
Yeah. And you don't want to leave other people waiting. You don't want to impose
really
on other
particular
people.
about that.
Yep. Yep. Slightly obsessive.
Manners.
But there are some people, and I've been out with people who are just consistently late. Like
it just gets a bit rude, doesn't it?
It's really rude. You go to the movies and, they're turning up 10, 15 minutes. They're turning up as the movie started. And I'm just like, what? How have you not factored that in? And actually, it's like they don't value my time and they don't value the agreement that was made.
I actually had this problem in my first relationship because I hate being late. And he was always like notoriously late. He would always be, that 10 minutes late or so and not really think too much of it. Whereas I was always like, that's late. 5 minutes early is on time.
What did you do about it?
Well, I brought it up many a times, but it was something he knew he had to work on. He actually knew that, but he found it so hard to ever be on time.
Yeah, I had the same with my ex-partner as well and it drove me crazy. I was always looking at my watch going like, what is going on? Why am I sitting here waiting again? And I think there is a conversation that needs to happen and definitely people have to meet halfway. It doesn't mean that you have to be super punctual all the time just because one person wants it. It can't go either extreme. And there's got to be a conversation. Okay, what do you think is late? What do I think is late? Maybe it means that one person has to be a little bit more onto it and set alarms or things like that.
And I've been taught that it's just good manners not to keep people waiting.
And manners are a value as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
How about things like adventure and excitement? And you have some people who really thrive on adventure in their lives and keeping things exciting. And then you have other people who just like to be a little bit more content and a little bit more homebodies. Or they might need to be a little bit more cautious. They're not someone who wants to go and bungee jump off something or, go and do adventurous things, go bushwalking or travel overseas. They might like to just be content at home.
Yeah, that would be a tricky one to compromise if travel is important to you.
And you'd hope in the initial stages of that relationship that those two things would come up.
Yeah, you've worked that out. What about something like commitment?
Oh yeah, someone who really wants commitment and the other one who can't. That's a bit of a make or break, isn't it?
That is, yeah.
Like that's one of those ones that I think what happens is people say, oh, yeah, I'll commit. In the back of their head, they're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And then it sort of drags on and on and on and people don't actually really step into it.
I think that's a good point too. You need to know when to walk away because if it means that you're compromising some really important values, fundamental values, you shouldn't be compromising them because you're compromising yourself.
Because they're your beliefs.
To please someone else. You're never going to be happy with that.
I think that's a really important point. You're never going to be happy. Yeah, you might put up with it for a while and you might be like, oh, we'll work it out and everything will be fine. But at the heart of it, it's going to make you unhappy. And you're going to resent that person or you're going
to... Not respect yourself because you've given in to something that you value highly.
Yeah, it will create... It creates problems, it creates tension, it creates arguments and disagreements.
And it'll come up in the relationship.
They're perpetual problems, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not solvable. And that is probably a really good reason to separate.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that you mentioned earlier, that you'd hope that maybe you've discussed some of these really early on in the relationship. What are your values? That's a great question when you're dating.
It really is. And rather than having sort of faffy questions about, what's your favourite food?
What's your favourite movie?
And where do you like to go out at night time? They're great at the start of a relationship, but you're ready to make a deeper commitment. You should both be ready to have a deeper conversation. And if you have that conversation at the beginning and you're talking, you're like, wow, we actually don't have the same values, no matter what, even if there's sexual chemistry, no matter what else is going on, that's going to get in the way, isn't it?
100%. It actually makes me think about the book 8 Dates by John Gottman. I think it's a really important book to get hold of when you're in the infancy of your relationship at the very start.
Yeah, we'll leave a link in the show notes.
There's questions in the dates that are so in depth about values and commitment.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing to think
Great
about.
conversations to really get to know your partner on a deeper level and just to see whether they are your person.
Because if you find your person, if you can ask these questions and you can find, yes, there's differences, but these are differences that are solvable or can be overcome. And there are no perpetual problems. There are no values which are non-negotiable. So those dates, those early conversations really help set up a relationship for success.
Yep, I really recommend checking that book out and doing those dates and having those deeper conversations before you're in too deep and you're like, oh my God, I'm with this person, we don't share any of the same values.
Yeah, and we're always disagreeing. We're always disagreeing. We can't actually meet each other on different levels. A lot of the podcasts in this season of Ways We Are Different are all about asking those questions. What is different about us? Are those differences okay or are they not okay? And then once we know that, then we can make a decision what we want to do. Because I think we all want to be happy. Feel that because we haven't been taught how to have these conversations, how to have relationships, a lot of us end up in relationships which just don't suit us. I've been in way too many relationships where I was just in there going, oh, okay, I guess this is nice and we like each other, but it wasn't anything.
And I tried that at one point too, where I had very definite values, but I kind of was like, oh, maybe I could compromise on that one. But it doesn't really work.
No, at the end of the day, you
well,
really
somebody's got to change. They might want to change for you or you've got to change for them, and that doesn't quite work either.
Yeah, and there is things that we can change and things we can't change, and then it makes it much easier if we've had a conversation.
So that pretty much wraps it up, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening to Ways We Are Different. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe and follow us.
And check out our website at rekindlingrelationships.com.
Bye for now.
See ya.